Charles, and
hello?
Is this
Welcome,
Chris?
Anderson. Yes.
Hey, Chris.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Hey, welcome in BC. What's the weather up
Yes.
there like?
Well, it's warm, actually.
Why?
No snow and no rain.
No snow, no rain. Hey, if it's warm and there's no rain in BC, that's a miracle.
Yeah, well,
It's well. So how, I'm looking at the price of gold here at the very beginning of the market today, which was at $1209.70, up $2. So what's it like for the miner?
well, it's a little tough for the miner at the moment, but I'm expecting that we're going to see a nice quarter next year. The price of oil has certainly not helped us in the markets overall.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, deflation has been overwhelming.
Okay, well, explain that a little bit, because someone is sitting there going, "Wait a minute. Here's a guy that's talking about gold, and all of a sudden he's talking about oil prices." So explain that.
Well, you've got a lot of people that have investments or their holdings in oil, gas, natural stocks. And,
right.
When these prices drop, if some of them are leveraged, that means they have to go to their portfolio and they have to sell off some of their other assets.
Yeah.
And it brings an overall downturn to the entire market.
Ooh. Okay.
But again, we're talking about, when you talk about deflation, that's all good for us in the gold space.
Yeah.
Going forward, but we got a little bit of a ride here before we ride that out. I mean, in the Canadian economy right now, they're talking about a 10 to 30% correction to the downside on the housing market. Just
Really?
based around the fact that the oil prices have come off as much as they have. Right, we're looking for $60 or $70 a barrel up in the tar sands, when they start doing cutbacks and layoffs, and people can't afford to continue with their housing, right?
Sure.
You get a glut on the market, and you get a little bit of a correction.
Whoa. Yeah, I didn't think about that. Yeah, makes perfect sense. Yeah. Wow, that's amazing. Well, but tell us a little bit about XIMEN, though.
Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, XIMEN. Well, we've wrapped up our drill program. We've got our first 5 holes out there. We've proved our proof of concept that we can get these widely disseminated low-grade numbers. We got, I think, in our bulk tonnage stuff, we got 30 meters of 0.874 grams and 33 meters of 1.84 grams. And then on the high-grade stuff, we're getting 10 to 20 grams over a meter and a half. So we're showing that we can get these broad intersections similar to what they were getting grade-wise up at the Blackwater deposit, which we were kind of modeling ourselves after. Mm-hmm. We got the first 5 holes out. We got the last. We had on those 5 holes, we had gold over a vertical depth to about 210 meters. This is again a big system, lots and lots of alteration. We have now. We've got the last 8 holes. We drilled up into that we had a big mag anomaly up there that was 1 kilometer by 1 kilometer. So we put some drill holes out on either outer edge of that anomaly, and because of our experience with the first 5 holes, we discovered that on some of the holes we were still in mineralization when we shut down. We didn't realize we were still drilling into gold. So we on the last holes that we drilled, the very last hole we drilled was 350 meters. So we put the whole hole into the lab, and it was basically, I think, about 40 core boxes. So all that material's in. We're pretty much assaying the entire hole sectors, and we expect to have that out sometime in early January.
So was this the...
That'll be the last 8 holes that we got.
Okay, so was this that 490 gold zone that you had talked about earlier in the year?
Yeah, we had the main shear zone. There's about 170 holes into the main shear zone, and that was the original drilling that attracted us to the area. And that main shear zone there, they had done a bulk sample on. The metallurgy was done on. They drilled it out. They got like 55 feet of 1 ounce. There was a historic RC hole there of 235 feet of 2-ounce material. And then, so we didn't re-drill that. What we did was we found a parallel zone that we traced at surface for about 400 meters. And so we drilled over to the parallel zone, which was a couple hundred meters away. In between there, we hit bulk tonnage low-grade material. And then on the 490 zone, and the reason it's called the 490 zone is because it's got one of the historic holes that hit an intersection there. It was running 1.3 meters of 4.9 ounces. And then we reassayed it again, and it was 5.1 ounces. But that structure there we re-drilled. That was the first 5 holes we did, and we basically drilled down from surface 150 meters, and then we hit the zonation that we were looking for, and then we dropped the drill another 50 meters below that, and we hit it again, and then we stepped out 50 meters to the north and 50 meters to the south, and that's the first 5 holes that we released. And on that zone, our grades weren't the same as the previous one hole, but we were getting 10 to 20 grams, which is pretty good, over a meter and a half. And then in between the main shear zone and the 490 zone where we were drilling, we got these broad disseminated lower grade material, which we were talking about, which is like 33 meters or 1.84 grams. And this is the area this is the type of target we're looking at to the north. And what we wanted to do was show that we could get these broadly disseminated lower grade bulk tonnage type targets. So we've got both. We've got high grade, and we've got also bulk tonnage low grade. And so we've now put all that news out, and then we drilled the big mag anomaly that we have to the north, which is similar to we've compared it to the Blackwater type target, which is 1 kilometer by 1 kilometer. And those 8 holes that we've drilled up there are all in the lab now. And we expect those results out in early January.
Okay. Wow, that sounds great. So
our stock price is at a pretty good discount at the moment.
Well, and it's very interesting because last week while we were doing the Christmas Kids, we had a replay of your last show, which was October. And we got a bunch of phone calls from folks who were interested in the stock. And if anybody has any questions, I mean, we got Chris on the line here from BC. It's toll-free, 888-792-1590. 888-792-1590. And you can ask Chris a question. I think because of our basketball broadcast, we're getting a lot of European listeners now. We're getting a lot of Australian listeners because a lot of the ball players are from those regions. So they just kind of keep it on. So we want to welcome all of them, too, to our Money Info show. But Chris, you mentioned, is there a target date in January? Do you have any ideas, the first part of the month or second part of the month?
Yeah. Well, it is interesting, though, Mike. I mean, you know that we're dealing with tax loss selling now. So we've got pressure, guys that have been involved in the marketplace here can now sell. They can get their capital loss, and then in 30 days they can come back into the market. Well, we've been experiencing that over the last few weeks. So in January, we're going to have the opposite effect where guys are trying to buy their positions back, and we're going to be hopefully announcing our good drill results into a positive market. So we're going to have the headwinds at our back. I expect that we'll probably be in around, say, mid-January is when we'd be looking for as a target to get some of this stuff out. What we'd like to do is just get all 8 holes out at once from the lab and release them all in one fell swoop.
Sure.
So, yeah, and at that time, hopefully we'll see a little green on the screen as people are buying their positions back, and we'll have the headwind at our back and moving into that little bounce before, our regular PDAC conference that goes on here in March in Toronto. So we'll be moving into positive territory. And from what I'm hearing, I think we're going to see a good gold market in gold and gold equities going forward in this first quarter here. So I think our timing is very good. And, remember in the Great Depression when all these things were going on, gold stocks were, homestake made its peak back then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Chris mentioned the January effect. Every year this works. It works in which at the end of the year, after tax selling is over, these stocks get a jump. They get a lift after the tax selling has ended.
Yeah.
So it's a very appropriate time to discuss that.
Yeah.
And Mike,
go ahead, Chris.
We'll be mentioning a lot of stocks that have an opportunity like XIMEN. XIMEN has a great opportunity.
Sure. Well, Chris, when you think about that and you think, okay, the boost is probably there, but it doesn't hurt you guys at all that all of a sudden the headlines are screaming out of Moscow that their ruble is about ready to crash and stuff like that, and people are going to want gold.
Well, yeah. Gold by nature is a safe haven.
Sure.
And I think you're going to see throughout Europe and stuff, people moving into situations where they can get access to gold. So any of this stuff, that any uncertainty around the world is always good for gold, and deflationary period is even exceptionally good for us. So I think, and being in BC and being in Canada, the stronger the U.S. dollar gets, our costs on exploration and mining are not rising at the same rate the U.S. dollar is now. So from our perspective, we've got today we got about $1,400 gold Canadian, right? So when you do the conversion rate, right, we get a little bonus on our side as well, because our costs aren't going up at the same rate as the difference between the Canadian dollar and the U.S. dollar, right?
Oh, okay. I didn't think about that. Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you think about it from that perspective, right?
Yeah.
We've got a 14% gain on the gold price here in Canada, based on the rise in the U.S. dollar, but certainly our expenses on the ground, our labor costs and stuff haven't gone up 14% in the last month.
Yeah. Interesting. Wow. Oh man, you've got a fascinating industry to say the least, and it's going north of you. I guess Alaska's starting to talk about a lot of gold exploration.
And what would your lifting cost be, do you think, next year?
Good question.
I'm sorry, what?
The lifting costs.
What kind of lifting cost do you expect on bringing out the gold?
Well, we're not at that phase yet. I mean, we got to do some preliminary economic assessment reports and stuff like that as we get in, certainly quite a bit more drilling. But we are going to take a look at the opportunity that's in front of us now. I mean, historically, there was a bulk sample done, a small bulk sample done on this main shear zone, and it's got 170 diamond drill holes in there now. And we've drilled the parallel structure, and that looks pretty interesting. And the material in between these two structures seems to be mineralized as well. So there is a case there for us to take a look at that and see if there's a possibility of a bulk tonnage or a small mining opportunity there. Again, we're a little bit down the road from that, but I mean that is certainly on the table to take a look at. And so we've been batting that around now. We'll just have to wait and see what the rest of these results come in from the drilling up in the mag zone up to the north. And again, gentlemen, we're working in a small area in our land package, which is 2,400 hectares, and our land package is 21,000 hectares, and we don't even know if we're in the best area yet. We've found other structures out there that are anomalous in gold, but we haven't even drilled them yet.
Wow.
So we'll be looking at addressing those as well, and those are questions that our geologists will have to answer. One of the good things is that we are permitted. We're ready in place. We got another 3,000 meters ready to drill. As soon as the sun cracks, we're permitted to go and do some drilling. So we'll be right back to work right away as soon as the snow breaks, right? But again, we've got the story's got a little time in front of it before we get into a mining scenario.
How much time do you think? I mean, obviously the listeners out there are going, oh, I wonder when they're going to start lifting out of there. Is that 2015, 2016?
I can't answer that direct.
Okay.
That all totally depends on drilling and the opportunity before us. But what I can say is that when you've got a stock that's trading at 16 to 18 cents, when we've done our financings, the last one was done at 30 cents, and the one before that 55, and 55, the guys have taken down their warrants at $1. You know, and we've got 19 million shares out, and we're sitting on a gold district here that's a size comparison to and similarities compared to the Republic District in northern Washington State, and we got that new Grobman fault that we've discovered and stuff, and the anomaly that we have up there that we've just drilled, and down in Republic they got 8 high-grade gold mines down there.
Wow!
That they pulled out 2.5 to 3 million ounces of gold. We don't know exactly what we've got yet. But for a stock, a junior, to have 19 million shares out and be in control of a new gold district like that, that's pretty spectacular in my opinion.
Yeah, boy, it sounds great. You've got quite the story to tell. There's no doubt about it. I mean, so you're looking, targeting, hopefully getting the results back, and maybe mid-January making the announcement then, huh?
That would be correct, yeah.
Wild. Michael, what do you think?
But the weather isn't so bad that you can't drill up there. You don't. It's not like Alaska. I mean.
No, it's not like Alaska.
You can do some.
But we wouldn't be back. We wouldn't be back in there drilling until the end of April, early May.
Right.
Right. We've got some other work that we want to get done before we get into drilling as well. We want to do an airborne mag over the property, so we're looking at addressing that.
And what does that do? The airborne mag?
Well, the mag seems to work very well in identifying these gold-bearing structures, so we're, to take a look over that much area, an airborne mag. The mag worked very well on identifying this target that we have to the north, and so we think it'll help us to identify other targets within that district.
Okay, you guys both understand. You and Mike, Chris, both understand. Well, okay, what's a mag for us laymen?
Yes.
Well, it's a way of looking at your sending chargeability, and you're looking for areas underneath the overburden that are would identify where there might be possibilities for sulfide, and sulfide would be pyrite where you find the gold. So it's a way of identifying potential areas of interest. I guess would be one way to look at it. Another thing that we did too. Another thing that we did over the area that we did the big mag survey, and we just got the assays back, or we're in the midst of getting it back. I'm not sure exactly where we're at, but we did a vegetation survey over the mag anomaly as well. And what that does is where we go in and we collect different samples, where we would collect moss, and then we would collect bark off of certain trees, and then we'd collect certain tips of leaves off of certain trees as well. And what we do is we analyze those, we burn them, and then we analyze them for mineral content. And what we're looking for is a way to vector in on potential gold targets within that area that is seems to be of interest under the mag survey, right? So we do those that kind of research that we do is all tools that help to move us closer to a target.
Okay.
I mean, all the drilling we did this year up in that mag survey was based on that type of work, right? Because there was hardly any outcrop, nothing to guide us that way, right? So we had to use these type of tools to help us vector in on target areas.
Okay, now I understand. I was flipping through television and happened to see this Golden Alaska type thing, and they were explaining what they were doing with like leaves and trees and stuff. I'm going, what does that have to do with gold? Now you've perfectly explained it. I mean, yeah, that's okay. Very, very interesting. Wow. One would think as a layman, okay, you just go in and drill and it's there and you just take it out. But there's so much more to this than meets the eye. I mean, that's where you guys are, that's why you're the professionals, It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Chris, what are you looking at, say, The actual heavy-duty drilling is going to start ballparky around April, say. What about the second half of 2015? What are you looking at there?
Well, again, that's dependent on the drilling, but we'll probably be looking at expanding some of these other targets and seeing what we can put together.
Mm-hmm.
It's all contingent upon results as they come forward and
Sure.
areas of concentration. And you know what I mean? It depends on what the market conditions are and what we think is the best route to improve shareholder value as we move forward. Right?
Sure. You bet.
Right.
Right now we know we've got something, a tiger by the tail in our opinion, and we're out there looking. We found several key areas that certainly are producing some success for us, and now we need to identify which in those areas is our best opportunity to move forward on. And we're still in the midst of doing some exploring, but we certainly have right now at the table some very interesting opportunities before us that we're looking at as potential areas for, expansion on. But that, we're, again, we have to wait till we get all the results out and see what
Are they all in British Columbia?
Everything's in British Columbia, yes.
Yeah.
I would think that would, having, been through a lot of areas of Alberta, I would think that would be an advantage for you, as being in British Columbia.
Well, it is, and also the structure, the geological structure that we're working in is conducive to this type of gold mineralization that we're looking for. It's an epithermal gold-bearing system. We got the right fault structure there that shows it, and obviously we've proven that there's gold in the district because we've got some pretty good numbers in our gold drilling. So
sure, yeah. I don't exactly see you drilling in the middle of Lake Louise, if you get my drift.
No, absolutely not.
Oh, man. Wow. Well, and you think Alberta is oil country. Hasn't BC historically been metals rather than oil?
Oh, yeah, there's a big gold rush up here. Lots of gold rushes up in BC in the late, mid-1800s.
Uh-huh. Well, it was the same as
gold country.
Yeah, it was the same as a 49er gold rush by San Francisco, right? I mean, it was about the same time?
Yeah, about that, yep.
Yeah, amazing. Absolutely amazing. Well, Mike, any more questions for Chris? XIMEN Mining. Again, Chris, your stock symbol?
It's a great name.
XXMMF.
XXMMF. Okay. Sounds good.
It's a great name, a great opportunity. No question about it.
Yeah, and the website as well. In case anybody has any questions, you've got a beautiful website. What's the website address?
XIMENMiningCorp.com.
All right.
XIMEN.
Yep.
Mining. Corp.
Corp.com.
CORP.
Pretty straightforward. We've got it here in the front lobby as well. We'll give that to Lynette in case anybody has any questions. Feel free give Mike King a call in Las Vegas, and that's 702-650-3000. 702-650-3000, and Michael can give you all the information on Chris and his wonderful company, XIMEN Mining. Well, Chris, you have a great, tremendous Christmas, and we'll be talking to you right after the first of the year, okay?
Sounds good, sir.
All right.
Okay, great.
All right.
Take care. Happy holiday. Thanks so much for calling us.
Yeah, Chris Anderson, the president and CEO and director of XIMEN Mining. Again, it's XIMENMiningCorp.com. And if anybody has any questions, seriously, I know Lynette was bombarded from our replay last week. Just call Mike direct down in Las Vegas.
Just call me and I can explain the January effect.
Yeah.
It's an excellent opportunity. The January effect takes place from tax loss selling, where people must take a tax loss to balance out their years so they don't have to pay a lot to the government.
Sure.
And so the That's called the January effect, and that's what we're going through right now on stocks that have been down. And gold is an example of that, as the industry has lagged and has been behind. And everyone could get my market letter and read about the tremendous manipulation that was done by Goldman Sachs and J.P. Morgan and the fines that they got in London. And that was in last week's market letter, and of course I got that off the news media. It's not anything new, and gold would probably be a lot higher if it weren't for that problem.
Yeah, that's
gold could be a lot higher next year.
That's a very interesting scenario there. Well, Michael, as we've got about 4 minutes left. Anything look intriguing out there for you in this next week? And obviously, it's a holiday week, so it's going to be probably a little lighter.
Very intriguing. Yes. Yesterday we bought Blue Cap Reinsurance Holdings at $17.50 a share.
Who?
We bought 300 shares for the $100,000 account, and I put that out the best I could on the new system. For those who didn't get it, that's BCRH is the symbol. I'm looking for $21 in that stock by March.
Wow.
It's $17.67.50 today. I think it's a very good buy. It pays a dividend between 6 and 7%. It pays it quarterly, and I'm looking for very big things from that company. And then the other company I would buy is Santander, SAN. Sheila Bair is running the U.S. portion. This is one of the biggest banks in the world. They're very clean, a very good bank. And Santander.
Santander?
Yes.
Okay.
Santander. Their dividend yield is about between 9 and 10%, trading at 8 down because of a lot of the problems in Europe, such as their opposition to a QE program. When it looked like they were doing a QE program, the stock was close to $9. I think it'll trade above $10 next year. And you just mark my words that by April of next year, you'll be a $10 stock in SAN, and that would be about $1.70 above where it is today, $1.65 to $1.70 above, plus you get the dividend.
Did Sheila Bair come from a political world? Why do I know that name?
Of course. Yes, of course. She was very active during the housing crisis in 2006 and 2007.
Okay.
Remember, absolutely.
Okay.
And you can look up her background. She has a tremendous financial background.
Okay.
And this is one of the great bank stories in the world. Now, keep in mind, Santander is the biggest bank in Bolivia, which is the fastest growing country in the world. You know, what's the fastest growing country? Bolivia. There's a lot of countries growing well. Of course, Santander does have problems with the banks that they have in Europe, and especially in Greece. Greece has been a problem.
Yeah, for everybody.
It hurt us, too.
Yeah.
We bought the National Bank of Greece. Charles is still long the National Bank of Greece, which is NBG, which has really hurt us. The stock is down to like $1.80.
Oh, God. I hate to laugh, but yeah, the Greek economy is just like shambles. I mean, it's just it's amazing. But, hey, it's
can't get down forever.
And
it's
that's
not
right.
a bottom in here.
Yep.
I'm looking for a bottom.
Okay. Well, Mike,
that's another January effect trade is the NBC.
Cool. Okay. Well, what's your phone number again out there in Las Vegas?
702-650-3000.
Okay. Well, have a good week, and we'll be talking with you on Tuesday.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Mike King, Charles Moskowitz, Money Info from Princeton Research. Get that newsletter, because that's going to be awesome. And then, of course, they're tying the texting to the newsletter, and that makes it even better. Newsletter is out every weekend, so take a look at it, okay? It is so informative if you're into trading. It's kind of cool. Well, we are back with Money Info Live. This is WPSL Port St. Lucie, WPSLTV.com.
CBS News. I'm Steve Kathan. He was an